Good afternoon. Today I'd like to talk about elder care and Medicaid, especially about advanced saving techniques, qualifying for Medicaid, and maximizing asset preservation according to the rules. My name is John Todd, and I worked in the long-term Medicaid office for 5 years. There we accepted the financial eligibility applications. We reviewed financial eligibility for customers that were wanting to go into a nursing home, an assisted living, or in-home care, needed in-home care, and we're applying for Medicaid for assistance in paying for those things. Now, I'm not an attorney. I don't provide legal advice, but I did review the work submitted by attorneys and sometimes had to guide them towards the correct Medicaid rules. I do provide expert assistance around Medicaid applications. We plan and preserve assets for the community, spouse, and families, and we provide Medicaid planning that is legal and ethical by following the rules. Today, I want to look at elder care and Medicaid, and the first choice that people come across or face is when we're faced with elder care, when my loved one goes in the nursing home, when my mom needs memory care unit, when my dad is in assisted living. Are we going to private pay, or do we get Medicaid to pay, or do we do both? And sometimes that's a problem for people. So let's look at those choices just a little bit. When we're talking about private pay or Medicaid, one of the first considerations is, well, how much money do I have? And how long can I pay? So if we start with income, how much income do I have? Do I have $10,000 a month of income? Are my pensions or my Social Security, all of them together add up to $10,000 a month? If so, then I have enough money to pay for my care in the facility. Maybe I don't need Medicaid. If you have anything less than $10,000 a month or $9,000 a month or whatever your facility costs, then you probably don't have enough income to pay off of the income. You'd have to use up some of your savings. So then how much savings do you have? Do you have enough savings? How long can you pay? And so those are some of the considerations you start with. And then the second thing we notice is people get to the place where they say, well, when have I paid enough? When have I paid enough in this and now it's okay for Medicaid to pay? And they feel guilty for taking some assistance from Medicaid. And the third one is, eventually they sometimes get to the places, am I going to be able to gift anything to my children or my grandchildren or my favorite charity? In other words, when have I paid my fair share and when is it okay to get Medicaid? Now we worked with a gal named Janine. She had about $200,000 when she went into the nursing home. She private paid for a year. So $9,000 a month times 12 months would be $108,000. She had spent about $100,000 in that first year. She still had $100,000 left. And she began to ask, am I going to be able to gift any of this to my children? When have I paid enough? How much do I pay? How long can I pay? So she had about enough money to pay one more year, but she was interested. Do I spend it all, or am I going to give some to my family? And so we helped her address what the options were. But that's one of the first considerations. What do we do about private pay? The second consideration that I'd like to look at is, on that first choice, the other side, considerations for Medicaid. So the question is it ethical to use Medicaid? Can I use Medicaid if I have $1 in the bank? What if I have $10 in the bank? $1,000, $10,000, $100,000, $500,000? When is it ethical to use Medicaid? Now, what's interesting to me is Medicaid was funded exactly like Social Security and Medicare. We were told all our lives that you're putting into a fund for your retirement when they took out your Social Security tax. We know that's a lie. That they didn't put it in any fund for you. They spent it. But we think that we're entitled to that. We should get our Social Security because we paid into the system. The same thing with our Medicare. But the exact same payroll taxes that pay for Social Security and Medicare are also used to pay Medicaid. They came right out of your payroll tax during your working years. So if it's ethical to accept Social Security and it's ethical to accept Medicare, it's also, in my opinion, ethical to accept Medicaid. It's not just for the poor, as they like to tell you. You earned it just as much as your Social Security. They took it out of your payroll taxes. So is it ethical to use Medicaid? That's up to you. You can make your own decision. Do you take Social Security? Do you accept Medicare? Then, yes, it's probably ethical to take Medicaid. But it's up to you. You don't have to if you don't want to. The second question people ask is it legal to use Medicaid? And although we do help people preserve assets, everything we do, we show to Medicaid for review. We don't hide anything. I'm not interested in having the state of Idaho or any other state to come after you saying, well, you were trying to defraud the system. We don't do that. So what we do is we do everything up front and we show it to them and they apply the rules according to the way it's supposed to be applied. But the reason we can do that is because we know the rules, right? If you don't even know the rules, then you can't play their game. So everything that I can show you here is allowed by the rules, and we would show it to Medicaid and they will make the final decision, of course. But those are considerations about, well, do we private pay or do we use Medicaid? And I'm just suggesting that it's not unethical or illegal to use Medicaid, even if you have money in the bank. The next thing I want to look at is elder care and Medicaid. How much of our assets can I keep? And I want to look at first for married couples. There's special rules that help that are written in favor of a married couple. So how much of our assets can I keep? And Medicaid's answer, they have a tiered answer. That is in tiers, right? And it varies somewhat from state to state. So I'll just give you Idaho's, but the other states have a little bit of variation, but it's similar. Okay. First, they say if a couple owns about $27,728, they don't have to spend anything. They can keep all of that money. There's a way to reposition stuff, move it around a little bit, and one can qualify for Medicaid, and the other one can live in the community, and they could have together about $27,728. Now, there's 3 more sets of rules depending on how much the couples own, and there's a way to calculate how much you're supposed to spend down. But Medicaid, if you have more than $27,728 for a couple of countable assets, then Medicaid would say, well, you probably should spend that money down before we can approve Medicaid for one of them that needs the Medicaid. Now, while that's technically true, they're not allowed to tell you the rest of the story. And that's what I'm going to show you right here. Really, advanced asset planning and repositioning of assets, a couple can preserve virtually all of their savings, all of their assets, okay? Medicaid office isn't going to tell you this, but according to the rules, there's a way to do this. A couple can preserve virtually all of their assets, all of their savings, if they're willing to reposition them, okay? And I'm not going to go into all the details of that, but I'm just giving you a heads up. Medicaid office won't tell you this. There's not very many people in the state that even know how to do this. But the rules say a couple can preserve virtually all of their assets, all of their savings, by repositioning some of them. All right. Now I want to go on to elder care and Medicaid, a single person. And again, we're talking about the second question. How much of my assets can I keep for a single person? Now let me go through it this way. Medicaid's answer varies again somewhat from state to state, but usually they're going to say they can keep about $2,000 of countable assets. So they might be able to exclude some things like a life insurance policy with no cash value, or they might be able to exclude a vehicle or perhaps the home. It depends on the living situation. But basically they're going to say they can have about $2,000 of countable assets. But under advanced asset planning and repositioning of assets, usually you can preserve or gift about half of your savings, then reposition the other half of your savings. Notice this, it's important to get professional help to do this, and a mistake can cost you thousands of dollars. There's several things that have to be done at the same time, and it has to be you have to inform the Medicaid office of what you're doing. So let me just give you another couple steps on this one and explain what we do. Here's the big picture process, done in the same calendar month. First, we would calculate how much you're going to gift or how much you're going to put in an irrevocable trust. And again, there's a choice there. We'll get to that later. The second is we're going to calculate how much to reposition into a Medicaid compliant annuity for income. And then we're going to apply for Medicaid. Whoops, sorry about that. Then we're going to apply for Medicaid. Let me touch those again. Calculate the amount to gift or put in an irrevocable trust. Calculate the amount to reposition in a Medicaid compliant annuity for income. Then 3, apply to Medicaid. Show them what you did and let the Medicaid penalty start. Okay, note your income and the income from the annuity will allow you to private pay for a portion for a number of months to take care of the months while there's a Medicaid penalty. Then after that, Medicaid will kick in, and whatever you've given away or put in a trust, irrevocable trust, is what you would end up have saved. You wouldn't have spent down or wasted that money or lost that money. So let me give you another little step here. Here's an example. If somebody had $1,500 of income, the facility cost $8,000 a month, and they had $100,000 in the bank, first of all, Medicaid would say, if they have $100,000, they just need to waste, spend, or private pay $98,000. What I would say is they could gift or trust $55,000. They could have an annuity of $43,000. And if you add those together, that equals 98. That means they could leave $2,000 in their bank account. And then Medicaid penalty of 7 months. And basically this annuity of $43,000 would be used to pay for the 7 months of Medicaid penalty. And then this $55,000 is what they would have saved, either given it to their children or their charity, or put it in a trust, irrevocable trust. Let me give you one more picture here. So again, which is better, to gift it to the family or put it in an irrevocable trust? And again, it's just a technicality kind of. Some work better for one situation, maybe for another one. If you give it to the family, everything is settled now, right? Your kids or your grandkids, you could put it in a trust for your grandkids' college education, or you could give it to your kids, split it up now, whatever, that $55,000 in the example. And there's really a minimal legal cost. There's not very much on the legal side if you're going to just gift it to the family. So maybe a family member is going to take care of you, and whatever they have left, but they're taking care of them and you want to gift them. There's a way to calculate that, just as long as you do it according to what I showed you on this example here. There's a way to calculate this trust or the gift. There's a way to calculate the annuity, and there's a way to calculate this penalty. And so you have to know all those little formulas in order to get that to. But when you do it right, you can settle everything now, minimize legal costs, and gift it to the family. Now, if you wanted to put it in an irrevocable trust, you're going to spend some money for the attorney. And of course, you're going to need a trustee. It can't be you if it's for you. If the trust is for you, then it can't be you that's the trustee. But then the money is used for you and then goes to your estate, your family after you pass. So that's kind of how the system would work. So we come back again. So what's the best way? First, you have to decide, well, do you want a private pay or do Medicaid or both? And then you have to decide, well, if we're going to do private pay, how long can we do it? If we're going to do Medicaid, is it ethical? Is it legal? And then how much can we save, and how are we going to save that? Well, that's my little thought provoker today. If you have questions about Medicaid planning, saving some of your assets, preserving assets for your community spouse or for your family, and making sure it's done legally and ethically by following the rules, feel free to contact me. My email address is eldercarefinancialllc@gmail.com. Thanks. Have a great day.